Welcome to a new episode of Talking About Rules. Today's guest, Gerard Arsenal, BWF umpire and Badminton Panam umpire assessor.
Good evening, everybody from Canada. It's a nice day here, 30 degrees Celsius, which is pretty much average for summer, and minus 30 for the winter. So we have a nice little gap in between summer and winter here. That said, Kelvin, you want to say something before I start?
Just to say good evening and hope that everybody has been keeping well since we last spoke 2 weeks ago. And I'll leave it up to you to start, Jared.
Thank you. So that was the last slide that we saw, the last image that we saw as far as last week, 2 weeks ago went. And the next one would be before the match on court. At 90 seconds, that is something that we've talked about last week. It is a 2-minute interval, but we asked that at 1 minute and 30 seconds or 90 seconds, you said ready to play. In some case, it can be a little bit before that, but you want to be as close as possible as the 2 minute when you say play, basically. So 30 seconds to get all that ready is not long, but that's the timeline that you're given. And sometime you need to, it will go over a little bit, but you try to get players to be ready before at that time. So at 90 seconds, that's when you say ready to play. Check that player equipment, bags, racket, water bottle, towel, etc. are in the box. You kind of have to set yourself a little routine at the beginning, after you say ready to play, that you check that the players will come off. Then you can then look if everybody's ready. That's when I do a little check if there's anything on the court or anything like that. Then I'm sure that everybody's in their seat. They come back on. They do a practice serve. And when the practice serve is happening, I'm just waiting before I do announcement. You don't do your announcement while they do their practice serve. We have that a little bit later on in the presentation. You just, I wait. So there's like a routine there that I want you to kind of get a mind on it. So that's when, just as they walk, that's when I do my last check on each side for the equipment box, and that's if there's anything hanging, that's where I would ask the players to put it back in, so you don't cover the A board and all that. Of course, they can put a racket on top for a quick change during rally, and you probably have seen that happen a couple of times in your experience. If not, it's nice to see anyway, live on court. You have to sit up straight in your chair, of course. Do not cross your leg or feet while you're sitting in the umpire's chairs. The only exception would be if you're a female umpire and you're wearing a skirt. That's when they say that the female umpire can sit with their ankles crossed. If your match is on TV, you have to make sure that, well, usually the referee will indicate that in their briefing, that if you have to wait for the signal to start your game, to say, ready to play, or even your announcement, you have to wait some time for a signal. I can relate to a little story. My first big TV match, I walked on the chair and there was like screwed button there anyway, and I'm sitting there warming up and I'm a little bit nervous. So suddenly one of those end falls on court. The player gets back to me. The guy signals for me to start. I signal no because my pad was not working. And then the referee come, put the pad in, then the guy signal to start, and then I say no again because then there was something else. It was, I think everything that could have happened wrong did that time, but at the end was a good match. So basically, you have to watch for the signal to start if that's the indication from the referee. Before going on court, also confirm if the interval are mandatory, because when it's TV, I would say that 90% of the time they are mandatory. So the players need to take the full 2-minute interval, and all those intervals, or the 1 minute at 11, all the intervals basically have to be full-time intervals. The referee should have told you that at the briefing. Do not start your announcement before the players have finished their practice serve, like I was saying earlier. So, and they should be doing that after you say ready to play, they get ready. In single, something that we tend to forget is that in single, they can have 2 practice serve on each side. That is one from each serving court. So that's when your player is allowed to have 2 practice serve. In doubles, it's 1 practice serve. You'll see sometimes they miss, they get in the net, they quickly pick it up and they send it over. Don't rough up feathers for that. It doesn't really matter. The other players are not, feeling bad about it or anything like that. It's not something that is the end of the world. When starting your announcement, extend your right arm, pointing it downward. That is not upward. I've seen some umpires pointing upward. Basically, I kind of point to the middle of the serving or the court of their side. That's pretty much where I can point with my hand to give you a general idea.
Sorry, Gerard.
Yes.
Max have a question.
Please,
Max.
Hi, everybody. Well, my question is, what happens if both players are ready to play, and even is mandatory to wait for the 2 minutes, but they are ready? So I need to wait, or I continue playing?
No. If the 2 minute is mandatory for TV and it's been mandated by the referee, you have to wait for the 2 minute. You say to the players to wait. They understand. They've been on TV before, most of them, and many of them know also before even going on court that it is mandatory. At the big tournament, it is, if there's live TV there, like I said, 95% of the time it is mandatory and the players understand. So you just say, wait 1 second. If they can't start before you say score in or second game or whatever in play. So if they start before, you have to say a let and then you say wait. Basically that's how I would handle it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. When starting your announcement, like I said, extend your right arm, pointing it downward to indicate and announce the players on your right, and then you do the same thing on your left. No extension of the arm is necessary for announcing who is serving. So I've seen that a couple of times where when you announce X player serving to X, so no, we don't need to extend our arms for that at all. You just extend your arm for who's on your right and who's playing there and on my left and so on. But for service, no, you don't extend arm. This is an example of an announcement on your left there in this case. While making any announcement, keep your head up. You may raise your score sheet to announce, but do not cover your face. As you can see in this picture here, he rose his score sheet a little bit just to see the names, but he is not covering his face while doing the announcement anyway.
Sorry, Gerard.
Yes.
Sandeep has a comment.
Sandeep, always a pleasure.
Well, thanks, Gerard. My point about this is, why do you want to call let when you haven't not even called play yet?
My reason, it's more of a reflex, and all players would know what let is. It's something that you would say. Let's say after 11, it's something that you would say there If you didn't say play yet and you just say the score and the serve is gone, that's where you would say a let. And also at the beginning of any game, you second game, and if the players serve before you say play, that's you would say let there. It's understood by everybody, and that's what I would say. It's keeping with the vocabulary also. I hope that answered your question, Sandeep. Now in this picture, like I said, he's not covering his face with the paper. Do not begin your announcement at the start of the match if another announcement is being made. So basically, yes, there's a 2 minute that you want to be, but if the other guys are starting their announcement, a few seconds there to wait is recommended to really give the chance for players to be acknowledged, basically, by the crowd properly. It's a reflex that you develop with time doing umpiring. There's many courts on at the same time. Everybody is mic'd. You don't want to cover the other people. There is time between rally also a little bit there. So delay your announcement of score until like the second bullet there is delaying your announcement of the score until the crowd noise subside. Basically, you let it go down. In some tournaments, you can't. You just go ahead because the noise is constant all the time. So when you don't delay the start of the next rally, you can wait a little bit before you say your announcement. All announcement, of course, must be correct, clear, and audible. As soon as the service is delivered, have a quick look at your service judge. And this is kind of a little routine that you go, you watch your receiver, the shuttle is being hit, it comes back, and as it goes back to the other side, pretty much every time that happened for me, that's where I give a little glance to my service judge as I go over the net with the shuttle. And it's all depending also of how quick the play is going. Maybe it's a couple of quick net shot right there. So there's little circumstances like that. But most of the time, that's when I give the little glance to my service judge. Big noise, sometimes they may have called a fault that you didn't hear, but the service judge, as you know, should hold the call. If there is a call being made, the service judge should call it and hold that call, the hand signal, until the umpire sees that call, basically. After a quick look at the service judge, follow the shuttle in play. Basically, that's when you want to keep going after that and following the shuttle. When writing the score onto your score sheet, you have to do it quickly so that you're not looking, so you're keeping looking at the court and you're not looking at your score sheet too long. You want to see what's happening on court and not what's happening on your score sheet or a score pad. You have to do the exact same thing if it's an electronic score pad. Basically, you have to be quick at doing your scores and all that so you don't lose what's happening on court in front of you. Also, have a quick look at the scoring device when that is usually located at the end of the courts. So you look a quick glance. Again, that goes into your little routine of, okay, you say score, you look at players are getting ready, pick up shuttles, quick look at the scoreboards, bing, it's done. You need a couple of seconds to do basically all of that. Now, if that scoreboard is wrong, it's not correct, ensure that it is immediately corrected. Or if this cannot be done quickly, then ensure that the players is no longer being using the scoreboard, and you inform the referee accordingly also. Sometime it can be fixed quickly. If not, then you say to the players, the scoring device is not working. It's good here on my score sheet, or it's good here on my score pad. We keep on playing. Just be sure you watch what I'm going to say. Or maybe you want to wait for the referee. There might be something going on. Usually this is covered also in referee's briefing if there is some type of incident that is occurring often. Change of shuttle. If both players agree, acknowledge by nodding your head, indicating yes type of thing, and you can extend your arm pointing at your service judge. If both sides want to change the shuttle, then it's no issues at all. Who doesn't want to play with the new shuttle? If one player does not want to change the shuttle, though, you need to give your decision without asking for the shuttle to be brought to you. Note that the player, whether serving or receiving, may ask for a shuttle change. So it doesn't mean that it is the serving side that needs to ask for the shuttle to be changed. It can be the receiving side. And you have to make a decision quickly and stick with your decision. Players should not test a shuttle without your permission. So when sometime they get a new shuttle, they want to test it. There's no shuttle testing. Testing of a new replacement racket also on court should be prevented. So there's no, if they need to change racket for X, Z reason, no, you don't test. You just go on with the new racket and play. If necessary, the law 16.7 shall be applied. You should follow the referee's instruction at the briefing with regards to tipping or changing the speed of the shuttle. Sometime, in some occasion, they test and they ask for the shuttle to be tipped, and that's when it is instructed by the referee before the session, and that's where you can apply the direction of the referee, basically, for shuttle tipping. If mopping is needed, you say wipe the court. You don't call up moppers. It used to be that long time ago at the beginning. I can remember, but then that fade away very quickly. Now it's wipe the court, basically. Do not point to the spot, but get the players to indicate where the court needs to be mopping. You have players, can you show please the court attendant where it needs to be mopped? That would be a sentence that could be used. During mopping, allow the players to towel down or have a drink if the situation permitted. So depending, sometime you don't want the players to waste too much time. Maybe they have time, depending what type of mopping needs to be done. For sure, the players can get a quick towel and a quick drink while the mopping is being done. Players should be back on court as soon as mopping is finished. Basically, player back on court quickly as possible. You have to remember though that it is permitted for a player to have a quick towel down between rallies, provided there is no delay of play. So as soon as the shuttle hit the floor, if the player walks, grab the towel, quick one on the arm, back in the basket, being back on court, then it's good. Now, if they come to towel down, then start to walk, then you have to do something about it. They have to make a choice between going for the dance that they do, or walk around the court once, sometime twice. But if they decide to walk around and towel, that no, you need to talk and be sure that there's no delay of play, basically. Ensure that.
Sorry, Gerard.
Yes.
Sandeep has a question, and also Max. Please, Sandeep.
Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. One question I have is, should the umpire change the shuttle if the shuttle feathers are ruffled but they are not broken? That means that the shuttle will not actually pass the speed test if the player tests it. It will be slow.
If I understand your question, you're asking me if the shuttle feathers are ruffled, should I accept the change or not, or refuse the change? Is that what you're asking me here, Sandeep?
Well, that's what the player is asking. One player is asking change the shuttle, and the other player says no, because nothing is wrong. So should the umpire step in and say change the shuttle, because if the shuttle is tested at that time, it will not fall within the hash mark.
No, you have to make that. You saw that shuttle play in the last play. You make the decision. You decide without taking the shuttle in your hand, without taking the shuttle from the players. You make a decision. The player can show you the shuttle if you ask, but you don't need to. If you see that the shuttle was flying fine, you didn't see any major thing about the shuttle, then you can just say no, play, good shuttle, or you just say yes, change the shuttle. It's your decision if both sides don't agree. Calvin, you want to add something to that, or are you good?
Well, just to say that it sounds as though Sandeep was asking if the shuttle is damaged. Now, the feathers being ruffled doesn't represent a damaged shuttle.
And I hope, Sandeep, that answered your question. Now I think I have Max who has a question.
Yeah, thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Gerard. Well, my question is about the quick towel.
Yes.
Most of the players made a sign of dropping head, so I let the permission to keep the towel. But some of them take the bottle of water and try to drink. So first of all, they asked me for just towel, but he has to take advantage to drink some water.
Yeah.
So this is a warning, just a warning, a cold warning, or I could use my yellow card.
I would give a friendly warning the first time, to be honest with you, Max. I would say, just a towel, okay? Bottle down, back on court, okay? And but you need to give some sort of it need to be acknowledged that he did not follow the instruction. Basically, you cannot just forget about it, okay? You need to say something and give a friendly warning that the next time that happened, you would need to take action, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Do we have any other question, Ricardo?
I don't know if maybe Analia have a comment.
Yes, she opened her mic there.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. I didn't realize that my mic is open. No, I did a comment about the question, Max. The Max question. It's a good question. It's something that happened a lot in the yes. match, and no, that's only. Thanks, Max, for the question.
Thank you, Anelia.
You're welcome.
Now, keep going here. So play back on court as soon as mopping is finished. Permit player to have a quick towel yet. Ensure that one side is not allowed to be consistently slow in preparing to serve or receive. Basically, you want a good flow. You remember those of you who were there last week, I talked about the badminton dance. So they have to dance pretty much the same dance all through the match. So if one is dancing a slow dance and the other one is dancing a quick dance, then they have to figure out a middle ground where they would have the same rhythm on court. Informally or formally, if flagrant, warn player if there is undue delay in play. So basically, if they delay the game, you have to do something, which is basically the answer that I gave Max about someone who is toweling and then taking a drink when they should have been just toweling type of thing. Throwing sweat on the court surface, and you've seen that. They go in the back of the court and they just wipe their hand and flick it off to the back or the side. You need to do something to say something about that. Leaving court without permission, except of course during the interval. Listen carefully to.
Sorry, Gerard.
Yeah, no problem.
Sandeep, Sandeep has a comment, please, Sandeep.
Yes, you mentioned earlier and you mentioned it again about the player not taking a quick drink. The player has lost a rally, the shuttle is in his or her court, and he goes to have a quick towel before returning the shuttle to the opponent. Is that not a delay of play?
For me, as soon as the shuttle hits, if it's on their side, they would send the shuttle over and then go a quick towel. It's all depending also on the position of the player. It would be something that I would be judging as it happened. If the shuttle's at the other side of the court and the player just happened to be right next to the basket, quickly wipes 2-3 seconds back on court to pick up the shuttle, I wouldn't do anything about that. Kelvin?
Yeah, I guess the other important factor there is just to keep an eye also on the opponent to get a gauge as to whether that shuttle not coming over to them immediately might be causing them a little bit of anxiety. So it's just to keep an eye on both sides there. But as you said, once it's done quickly, then it's not an issue.
So basically, quickly here, it's not toweling down like you're getting out of the shower, okay? It takes maybe 5 seconds, and I shouldn't say 5 seconds because it's not really a number that is important. It's how quick it's done without delay. It's like you've seen that also in sometime when you don't have mats in tournament. There are some players who arrive with a damp towel and they put it next to their box on the ground and they just go tap their feet just to go back. And if they do that without delaying the game, there's nothing wrong. But if they start to go around, then come out, and then that's not good. You have to do it quickly. And if it's not done properly, you explain to players and keep playing. Anything else, Ricardo?
No, Gerard.
Thank you.
Okay, Sandeep has a comment about the delay of the game, 3, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. So that means at the end. Okay, I don't know. Maybe Sandeep can comment about his comment.
Okay.
Ricardo, you were doing good. Ricardo, you were doing good explaining my point. I don't have to mention it, but consider this as if there is a whole match of 120 points played, if you're permitting 3 to 4 seconds of each rally, quick towel here, quick towel there, both players doing it, the other fellow also does it because this fellow is going quickly there, the shuttle is still on the court. So then all these numbers add up, and then pretty soon you got like 6 or 7 minutes of no play. You're just toweling. That was my point.
Well, your point is noted, Sundit. The opposite of not letting the players toweling down for 4 or 5 seconds is then dripping on the court, and then you having to have the court attendant coming on for mopping. So that would take much longer than the players going and taking a couple of seconds to wipe themselves off so they won't drip as much on court. So basically, you have to evaluate which one is best for the play. So that's how you have to judge that, basically. I know you want to add up seconds here and there, and that's extending the match, and I understand that. But having to mop every 2 rally or every 3 rally for X number of time is taking much more time than allowing a player to go outside. And that's why they introduced this. Instead of having players throwing sweat on the back of the court, instead of having to call the moppers every 2 rally in very hot area with their tournaments, you allow players to go out and do a quick towel in between rallies, basically.
Yeah, Jared, the other important thing there to consider as well is that from a safety perspective, because the last thing you want is somebody to be dripping sweat all over the court, and next thing you know, they're falling. And, you know, then that causes all sorts of other issues. So as the laws permit you to have a quick towel, you can't stop a player from having a quick towel. It's there in the laws.
Yeah. Thank you, Kelvin. Next page. We're up to 55 of 81. So listen carefully, complaints, requests from players, and then you have to make a quick decision. Call loudly and clearly. I don't want to say that word. Authoritatively, loudly and clearly, even if you're nervous at all time. Make clear any decision by using the relevant call vocabulary. You touch the net, change the shuttle, etc., etc. And where appropriate, use clear and firm gesture also. Sit alertly in the chair. But this is something that assessors look when you are in the chair. You don't want to look stiff, like if you're, you know, very rigid and bang and right there, and you don't want to look like too, you know, you need to look comfortable and happy to be there, you know. Yes, inside you can be nervous like hell, but on the chair, your appearance is very important to assessors. If you disagree with a line call, immediately after the line call, that's when you can say correction, okay, and overrule the play or the call. Now, don't wait too long. You have to be quick at it. And the quicker and the more firm you are, and the more certain and affirmative your voice is, the less challenge you will have from players about your call. And then you follow with service over and appropriate score and so on. If there is an IRS in use, though, any challenge made by a player must be done immediately. So they don't have like 20 seconds to do. Again, I shouldn't have said 20, because there are some people who are too firm with time. It's just in the flow of the game. As soon as you see the line, you look at the players who would have lost that call. You do a quick look at them, and just to be sure that they're not overruling or challenging, sorry, that call, and then you keep going. If you saw a line that is not, according to you, a correct call, if there is an IRS there, do not do the correction. Do not do the overrule. If there's an IRS there, you let the players decide if they want to challenge that call or not. Because if you do a correction, then the player can challenge you with the IRS, and you certainly don't want that to happen. I've seen umpires that have to do, sometime you have to do the short service line in the middle, the court service line, service court error, the service court line in the middle there. So I've seen umpires that when the shuttle is close to the line, even though they saw it, they sometime would call an unsight and go to IRS for that. Just not to appear, not to have done a wrong call, basically. It never happened to me. I always call my line at the best, but if they are very, very close, I would think about it anyway. That's something I can tell you. Vocabulary that must be used for results of IRS challenge. And when the challenge is successful, then you would say correction in or correction out, whatever is appropriate. Then service over, maybe, or maybe not. That's all. Then you follow basically with the proper calling, and you finish with play. Or maybe it won't be play. If it's the 21st point in a game and it separates the player of 2 points, then you would say game instead of play, basically. Challenge when it's unsuccessful, then you call challenge unsuccessful, then you say 1, or maybe it's no challenge remaining, depending, and then service over or not, whatever is appropriate, and then again score and play if that's not ending a game. If the result of a challenge is no decision, sometimes that happens, I've seen it before in tournaments, then the original call of the line judge stands. So if the line judge called it in and it's been challenged, it goes, there's no decision coming back, then the call is in because that's what the line judge called. But if the line judge was unsighted, and again, the IRS arrives with no decision, then it's a let, and we play that rally, that point again. A player should not allow to influence any line judge, whether by calling or gesture. If you see that at any time, you need to talk to the player. You cannot allow that. A player should not be allowed to protest, dispute a call, or argue with a line judge without at least an informal warning. You need to, at least the minimum would be an informal warning. At the interval, immediately after announcing the score, request for the mopping of the court. Do not waste time there. You want that to be done. Sometimes there's feather or sweat on the court that you may not see from your chair, but just bring them on so they can go around. Many tournaments, the floor attendant are asked anyway. You don't even have to call them. They are asked to go on court as soon as there's an interval. During the 2-minute interval at the end of a game, the service judge walks to the umpire's chair and stand beside it, and face the court, as so. So you just stand beside the chair. Sometime, and many of you probably have lived this, the players are there and doing their interval. So in a case that players are in where you should be standing, because they will arrive there before you sometime, then you don't squeeze in there, you don't move the player, you just step a little bit in front of where you should be, and that is accepted because players are there, people understand this, okay? And if you see them move away, then you can take a little step back into your position type of thing. If you or the immediate area around the umpire's chair is wired with microphone, and believe me, in big tournament, there is microphones everywhere, okay? There's microphone around the court, there's microphone on the net, literally on the net. You have a mic, and sometimes it's one in front of you. There is a mic next to your chair. There's mics everywhere. So you have to be very careful of what you say and discuss with your service judge during interval, after the game, or with a player at any time during a match, because it is there, it is recorded, and people are hearing you. During the interval, at the end of a game, do not ask player in double who is going to serve or receive in the next game. You should not also assume that it's going to be the same as the first game. You have to note here that the interval is there for coaching purpose. Best practice is to Identify server receiver by observing their position only. So when they come back on court, you see who's in what court side and so on, and that's how you put it in on your score sheet or on the score pad. If it's not clear, sometime it is really not clear, you give a little glance at the player. Very often they'll look at you, they'll point at them, they point at who is doing that. It's usually done very clearly, very quickly. If you're still not clear because they're not in position, then you kind of have to, players ready, okay, ready to play. Then if you say ready to play, they should go in their respective boxes, and then they'll look at you. I haven't had a situation ever that the players I did not know at all at the second or third game. Kelvin, did that ever happen to you, that the players, you couldn't know who was serving and who was receiving?
Yeah, no, usually you can pick it up, and then sometimes the players are kind enough to actually tell you as well who's going to serve or who's going to receive.
Yeah. One thing for sure is that you're not intervening during their time, their interval time. You don't stop them from talking to each other or talking with their coach just to know who's serving. That is something that you do not do during those 2 minutes. Keep the interval time correctly also. Be sure that now on score pads, as soon as you push game or the game is won, poof, it starts by itself, basically. If you're on your with score sheets, then as soon as the shuttle hits, that's when you start your 2-minute interval there. Always be aware where the players are. Speak to players. If coach do not leave the court side after the call of 20 seconds, then you can call players on court. And now you can even say coaches to your chairs. You can say that also. Also be aware of possible service court error after a break in play, interval, toweling down, and change ends. That's when most of the time errors are done. Immediately following the last rally of the game, call game. Make sure the score, make sure to record the end time of the match. So basically, at the end of the match, that's when you look at the end time. And we've talked about that last week when we were talking score sheets. Your announcement at the end of a match must be done after you shake hands with the players. Never announce before shaking hands. Of course, you can smile. It's even good to smile if appropriate. You don't smile if the person that you shake hands with just lost a terrible loss and you're there smiling in their face while you shake hands. Might not be appropriate. After your final announcement, get out of your chair as soon as possible, and with your service judge, walk to the exit point of the court. Wait there with your service judge at the exit point of the court for your line judges and court attendant, and then exit the court. Sometimes there is some variation to that, and that would be brought to your attention at the briefing from the referee at the beginning of the tournament. That's where they say how to get in the court, or on court, sorry, and out of the court. And also they would tell you who would be staying. Sometime the floor attendant would be staying to be sure that the court is ready for the next match while you are exiting the field of play with the rest of the line judges. Sometime that would happen also.
Sorry, Gerard.
Yes.
We have a comment from Sandeep. Sandeep, please.
Thank you, Ricardo. Gerard, I had a question about the game announcement after the rally ends in the final game? If there is a challenge happening on the court, is the game announced after the challenge decision has been finished?
Yes, of course. If on the final rally the shuttle lands and there is a challenge by one of the players, then you don't say game. So that's when I know if there is a IRS in effect there at that tournament. When the last shuttle hits, it's like any other time in the play. If it's a tight shuttle, I always, like I said earlier, look at whoever would be losing the rally with that landing of the shuttle, and I would give a quick glance at them to see if they're challenging. And then after that, I would say game. You know, it doesn't take you 20 seconds to do that. It's a quick glance, game type of thing, right? So, but if there is a challenge there, of course, you need to wait for everything to happen. And at the end, you can say challenge unsuccessful in a case, or challenge successful, whichever. And then if it's game, then you say game at that point. I hope that answered your question, Sandeep. So when after you walk off the court, the next bullet there is wait with your service judge at the exit point of the court for your line judges and court, and that we covered that. Yes. Oops, did I skip a page? No. Yes, I did. Thanking of court official at the end of a match should be done after you have left the court and its surrounding. Basically, you don't do that on court. We used to do that quite a few years ago, where you would thank every line judge around your court type of thing. You don't do that anymore. You don't even thank your service judge anymore. You just, as soon you say game, announce your match, off the chair, collect players if that's the case, and then you walk off court. And once you're completely off court, that is when and where you should off court and off the field of play, outside of the venue almost. That's where you would thank your court officials. Complete your score sheet if you have used a paper copy after leaving the court. You don't complete your score sheets in the chair. There's another match going on. It's just a flow of the match, flow of the game, flow of the tournament, basically. Adding up the shuttle use, time elapsed for the match, etc. That's where you would do it offside. If a warning and or a fault has been called during the match, you have to report the detail of that fault or warning at the bottom of your score sheet. As quickly as possible, have your score sheet signed by the referee. If it's the electronic score pad that is being used and you had an incident, that's when you go pick it up at the scoring table or the referee's table, and then they print it out for you. That's where you write, or that's when you write any incident on it, and then you give it to the referee. Most of the tournament will tell you, the referee, that if there is a score pad and there is no issue that happened on your court, then you don't need to get it signed by the referee of the tournament. They only want those that add a situation. It is no longer necessary for the net to be, we're up to service judge now. Service judge, for a while they were asking for you to measure the net at each time that you're going on court. We don't need to do that anymore. You don't need to measure the net anymore. Should the net appear to be low, then the arena staff can be called to adjust the net height properly during interval. Basically, if I'm an umpire or a service judge at a tournament, and during my match, I see that suddenly there's a gap between the net and the post, or I see that my net appears to be low, or there's a hole in it, or I see that at the end of the match, as I go out, I would go and let the referee knows before they call the next match on court. Do not cross your leg. Basically, it's like the umpire. You don't cross your leg or feet while sitting in your chair. Your hand should be rested comfortably in front of you. If you are a female umpire and you're wearing a skirt, you are allowed to cross your ankle. Do not end out warm-up shuttles until the players have exercised their choice arising from the toss. So basically, and that has happened to me quite a few times, when the players in double, mostly, the toss is being done, two players are staying there and the other are coming for shuttles. I have the shuttles in with me, but I'm not giving the shuttles out. I'm waiting for my umpire to be done his toss. I even look at the umpire. I don't even look at the, I signal or kind of go like this and look at my umpire. I wait for the umpire to say go or no go, and then that's when I issue the shuttles, or as soon as the umpire is done, basically. Do not keep the tube of shuttle or the shuttles in your hand during the match. Place the tube next to your chair and just pull out shuttles when they are needed. Now, the next shuttle should be ready on top so you can grab it quickly. Be sure that sometimes you know that they're all stick together. You twist it a little bit just to unsnap them from being stuck together, and it's ready. It's not out of the tube. The feathers are still in the tube. It's just the tip of the shuttle that may be out a little bit. So you arrive, as soon as you arrive, bing, you pick the next one, you issue that, and then you get the next one ready. That's when you get the next one ready before the next rally. So you are ready again to change shuttle quickly. Always receive the used shuttle before issuing the new shuttle to the player who is serving. So even if the server comes, I wait to get the old one before I give the new one. Never issue the new one before you get the old one, basically. If shuttles need to be tipped, do so discreetly and have no more than 2 or 3 ready for use. Do not tip the entire tube of shuttle. You just a couple, 2, 3 ready, and that's it. No more. When watching the server, do not follow the shuttle over to the other side. I've seen that very often. The service judge, they're serving, as soon as the shuttle is hit, pick, the service judge follow it to the other side. No, you have to hold your position watching the server for like a short period of time to keep your eyes, basically the next bullet there, keep your eyes on the server for only a moment after the serve has been delivered to see if the serve is legal. Then you look at the umpire, and like I said, talking about the umpire earlier, the umpire should, as soon as the rally's return type of thing, or if it's a high, long serve, you have time to give a little glance before the shuttle's coming down and the other player hitting it back. So you have time there, if it's a long, high serve, to give a little glance to your service judge. If it's a short, quick serve, then sometime you have to wait for the shuttle to return before you can give that glance as an umpire. But as a service judge, after the hit, hold the position for a moment, look at your service judge, wait for a little glance from your service judge. If after a couple of rally, the umpire is not looking at you, don't keep staring at your umpire for the entire rally. follow after a couple of rally, you just keep, then you say, okay, that person is not going to look at me. Then you follow the match to help with calls and so on. When calling a service fault, the fault should be called loudly with the appropriate signal being made and held long enough for the umpire and players to see. Normally, a player should not go to the service judge after a service fault is called. You want to be sure that the umpire is dealing with the player. You, as a service judge, just keep looking at your umpire. You don't intervene or talk with the players unless your umpire gave you or gave the players permission to talk to you. Work as a team with your umpire. Discreetly assist the umpire with line call, double hit, keeping score, etc. Discreetly is a key word in that sentence. At the end of each game, wait for the game call before standing up. After the umpire announce, walk to place the interval indicator. Sometimes it's like a little marker to say there's a 2-minute interval there. If one is in use, of course, in the middle of the court under the net, and then you go and stand beside the umpire's chair, facing your chair on the side of the referee's table, unless advised differently. So basically, unless the referee at the briefing told you otherwise, at the interval between games, you would stand, next to the umpire's chairs, but on the side of the referee's table. Sometime because of crowd, because of whatever reason, the referee would say, no, you're on, you would stand on the other side, then bing, it's the referee's decision. But if there's nothing being said, that's what happened. Only speak with the umpire as a service judge if it is necessary. So you don't have to go there and talk about it's nice outside or anything like that. Have you had no, nothing. Basically, you talk if necessary. At all mid-game interval, the service judge should remain in his or her chair. So basically at 11, you don't stand, you don't walk over, you just remain in your chair. And there's another picture. And again, like I said last week, those pictures are not really representative of the physique of those umpire. That picture has been extended sideways and or shortened because that guy is much taller than that. At the end of a match, stand up to shake hands with the player. I don't want you or see any service judge shake hands with players while sitting. That is a no-no. Of course, you smile if appropriate. Do not place 1 or 2 shuttle on the middle of the court under the net at the end of a match. You don't do that. You just be sure that you don't do that. Once your umpire has made their final announcement, walk across the court to join the umpire to leave the court. Now, in many situations, when you need to escort players, depending which side that you are exiting the court from, you may need to walk on the opposite side of the referee's table, because you would go to make sure that you guide players in the right direction, basically, as a service judge. Sometimes you have to do that quickly, because sometimes they leave. In some tournaments, or at some time in the tournament, sometimes that rule change because there's people on court to escort the players to a interview point or whatever. And then you would just leave with the court officials. So there's little variations of that should be brought up at the referee's briefing, basically. You should refrain from being too friendly with players or comment on players on social media. This is something that you have to be very careful of to remain as impartial as possible. And sometimes just the appearance of not being impartial is too much. And so if you want to go up in the world of umpiring, be very careful about what you put on social media. You know, you can check social media of everybody. You click on and you can see a lot of things sometimes that you may not really want to see. All these instructions are, of course, subject to any specific direction given by referee at their briefing. So basically that sentence is saying that all of this can be changed at the referee's briefing if the referee decides so. And that is the last one. So if you have any questions or any comments, I really would like to hear about it.
Okay, we have Max. Max have a question. Please, Max.
Yeah, thank you. Well, actually, I have 3 questions, one of each step, before, during, and after.